Let's do this. June 27, 2025. It is the Beating the Book podcast. I'm about to say contest. We just gave a drawing out. Free contest entries in Circa Millions and Survivor. Beating the Book podcast for Wimbledon 2025, live on YouTube TV. Gill Alexander and the regularly scheduled tennis guests who are kind enough to join on a Friday morning. First of all, from his spot in the LBC, Drew Dinsick, the co-host of Not One But Two podcast, the Deep Dive with Andy Molitor, and of course, Bet the Edge, NBC Sports with Jay Croucher, joining us now at Whale_Capper, and Zach Cohen from VSiN at Betting on X on Twitter. Boys, the Wimbledon draw out and available for betting quarters at both DraftKings and MGM. Good morning to you both, man. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, good morning, Gil. And code violation right off the bat for Zach Cohen. You got to wear white for Wimbledon.
Got to wear white, man.
I know. I know their colors are purple and green, but I mean, come on.
Code violation.
I was excited about the Suns draft, and I felt like I had to wear a shirt.
Remember, Zach, there's a night ordinance as well, so don't do this too late either. Don't talk about Wimbledon too late into the night. All right, this is pretty interesting. So, by the way, for those who are new to tennis betting or newish to tennis betting, this is the grass court slam, of course, at Wimbledon. Grass court season is all of 5 weeks. So there's 3 weeks of preamble, and then it's the fortnight of Wimbledon, 2 weeks of Wimbledon. And it is because it's the shortest of all surface seasons, obviously hard courts and clay being the other two. The data is the scarcest of all of this, and so relying on it is the diciest of all propositions, and it has sort of manifested that way. We've seen some wacky winners on the ladies' side in the past. Marketa Vondrousova famously 2 years ago, who only won 2 matches on grass before winning Wimbledon. Drew and I didn't even mention her name on the podcast because, as Drew says, why would we have? And she just came back and won herself a grass court tournament last week, so maybe she's in the mix. Obviously, on the men's side, it's a little more straightforward with Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner being the favorites. Maybe one of these gentlemen will have Novak Djokovic as a contender as well. But I just got to tell you guys both, and we'll do the men's first, I think, because it's a little more straightforward. But I have to tell you, my first reaction is seeing some of these numbers, and I was just talking about it on the radio side. Drew, we'll start with you, is some of these numbers where I thought maybe I'd find some value. I don't know, man. The books are kind of onto it. Bublik, not a price that I would even be tempted by. On the ladies' side, Anisimova, not really as much bang for my buck as I wanted. I don't know what your reaction is to seeing the quarter prices.
Yeah, the draw through cold water on all of the the high upside price players, as far as I can tell you. Gentlemen, and you're right. Like Wimbledon's past, and grass season in general, if it's taught us anything, it's that a player can catch fire. They can learn how to play on grass during this tournament and then go on and do crazy things. Even on the men's side, you've had runs from with Christian Guerin make a quarterfinal one year. From Chile, like we've had. Musetti last year was total shocker. He made his first ever Grand Slam semifinal on Wimbledon, at Wimbledon after doing nothing. So, there are surely examples of kind of men figuring it out, and just in general, you got to be prepared for that. But there's no predicting it because there's no signal in the data that says this is about to happen for these guys. There are certainly players who you expect to do well here that have a certain skill set where their serve percentage is, their service points won percentage is going to be high. Their ace percentage is going to be high. Double fault percentage is going to be low. You can't give away free points on serve. You got to get free points on serve, and you got to get your first serve in. Kind of the nature, I think, of somebody catching fire and getting hot is just they start to get in rhythm on serve. Right? Like they get in rhythm, they feel good. They're able to give you a little bit of variety. We saw this even with the great players like Alcaraz at Queens. His run to close that title in London a week ago was just truly ridiculous. Like he was like, you know what, I'm going to try a little bit of slice serve to mix it up with my other arsenal, which is performing well right now. And then all of a sudden he was just you give Carl Alcaraz a free point every game on serve. Like, you're not beating him. Like, no way. And so there is a little bit of that you can look for signal of just in general, who should we expect to do well on this surface, even if they aren't playing well currently. And I've gotten into trouble for sure in years past where you have a guy who wins a title on grass in the weeks prior, and then you're like, well, he's in form, he's feeling it, he's playing confident on the grass right now, and then they waltz in and lose in round one. Bublik very famously 2 years ago, I feel like, fit that mold. Where he wins Halle, and everybody was like, maybe he's finally taking tennis seriously and he's going to break through, and he just belly flopped. But there's a little bit of kind of a chaotic nature and unpredictability about Wimbledon, more on the women's side than the ladies' side than the gentlemen's side. But your gentleman's champion is Carlos Alcaraz.
I agree with that. The analogy I use, by the way, just to drive this home even further, and forgive me both because I think I probably have said this to both of you either via text or one-on-one, but I used it on the radio side this morning. Just last thing on the analogy of grass, it's sort of like a punt return in football. Some people say punt returning in football is more of a knack than it is anything else. A punt returner sort of processes real quickly, okay, how long is it going to take for this ball to come down? I'm also seeing the coverage come at a certain angle and a certain speed, and he processes that all. He just kind of has a knack for when to go and where to go, given all of that. Grass court tennis is kind of like that. It's a feel to it in a way that hard courts and clay is not. And so a lot of it is instinct. It's also why, it negates advantages like athletic players on the ladies' side, like Iga, like Coco. So that's kind of the animal we're dealing with, is this thing, as you were saying, Drew. You can figure it out while this 2 weeks is happening, as we've seen so many times before. But let's start with, and Zach will bring you in for this as well. So we have the 4 quarters. Do you agree that this is Alcaraz's tournament to lose? Let's just start there.
I don't think it's as straightforward. Like I think he should be the favorite. I don't know if I'd play it at the number. I do think that Sinner playing him on a quicker court would favor him a little bit. And I do think that, what we saw at Roland Garros was a pretty strong performance from Sinner for 4 sets. So it depends how he's going to be mentally when he does see him again, if we do see that matchup. But I do think that there are some positives that he should take away from that match if he's able to kind of push away, losing those championship points. And I do think that his game should give Alcaraz a little bit more trouble on a slicker surface.
Alcaraz plus 120 to win this. Sinner 2-1. Djokovic looking for his 25th major, tied with Margaret Court, trying to break that tie with Margaret Court for most majors ever. Novak is plus 650. Everyone else, beginning with Jack Draper, is 18-1 or longer, which is, again, just to give you an idea how top-heavy this is, at least in the betting market. But all that said, I think Alcaraz ended up in the easiest quarter, don't you, Drew? Q4?
Yeah. Easiest quarter and the easiest half.
Yeah.
He's basically got a bye to the final. He'll be there on Championship Sunday, and it's just a matter of who's he playing, how much damage has that player sustained, and what kind of price are you going to get. Right now make Alcaraz 58% to win this title, and I would take plus money and be delighted. I think the draw broke exceptionally well for him. Quarter 4 is warm-up matches. One of the things about Alcaraz that is always, you always worry a little bit about him kind of losing interest in a match, or just not being focused, or just, being just not sharp and doing, what he did against like Botic van de Zandschulp last year at the US Open, where you're just like, This guy looks like the 50th best player in the world, not the first. Like, what's happening? That for whatever reason, a lot of those performances have come at night. And as you mentioned, we're not going to be playing any tennis at night here. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily really worry about there being sort of a surprise with this draw. This was, if Alcaraz could have penciled in his quarter himself, I feel like this is what he would have asked for.
I agree. I mean, Lehechka, Auger-Aliassime, probably the best 2 other players in his quarter. I mean, it's a cakewalk in that quarter. Before we move on from that half, Q3 is the Taylor Fritz, or I should say the Sasha Zverev, Taylor Fritz, Daniil Medvedev quarter. Those 3 are properly priced as the favorites or the shortest shots in that quarter. So you would give none of those 3 a shot at Alcaraz in the semis.
I would say that Alcaraz making the final without dropping a set should be like 2-1.
Ooh. Zach?
I don't give any of those guys a shot against Alcaraz. I do think quarter 3 is really interesting in terms of just betting that quarter, if we want to talk about that. But yeah, I don't think any of those guys have a chance of beating Alcaraz.
Well, let's talk about that. Sasha Zverev's plus 250 to win Q3, Medvedev plus 350, and Fritz now 4-1. I'm pretty sure that I looked at this earlier, and Fritz and Zverev were co-favorites, so a little fading of Fritz early here. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah. I really like Medvedev in this quarter. I also think Berrettini's worth a flyer. I don't trust Zverev whatsoever. I think if Berrettini's any bit healthy, we might see him win that match again, which we saw him beat him in Monte Carlo. I just think Zverev is a little damaged right now mentally, and I don't trust his forehand. Like, you need to be able to kind of, like you guys said, win some quick points on grass, and I don't think he has the confidence in himself to do that. So I'd take a shot at Medvedev at plus 350. I think Fritz is a very good grass court player, but another player that I think got a really tough draw with GMP in the first round and Diallo in round 2. Like, I could easily see him getting bounced early.
Berrettini's 11-1 to win this quarter. Berrettini was a finalist in 2021 at Wimbledon. But you're right. If he finds the serve, right, if all of a sudden he becomes the serve bot that he once was on this, you never know, I suppose. Deepest run that he's ever had on any surface in a slam.
Do you guys have any intel on Berrettini not playing a warm-up on grass?
Oh, no, I don't.
He retired in
played exhibitions.
What? Go ahead.
He played an exhibition, I think maybe 2 matches the last couple of days. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 11-1 in Q3, Matteo Berrettini. 5th shot, by the way. Karen Khachanov is in between there at 10-1. All right, I'm more interested actually in the top half here for a couple reasons.
Actually, let me give you one flyer for 3 before we move
please,
on.
Yes.
I kind of like what Davidovich-Fokina has done at this tournament in years past. At least being kind of a plucky, kind of a fighter, scrappy player. And his first 2 rounds are a nice warm-up against Holt and then the winner of Arnaldi, Van de Zandschulp, before he draws Fritz in the round 3, if Fritz is even there. There's a world where the C's part for Davidovich-Fokina, and he's 16-1, so I'm going to play a little bit of that. But Q2 and Q3 are where you want to fire some darts.
Yeah, Q2 is. By the way, Davidovich-Fokina's deepest run in Wimbledon, round 3 thus far. Q2 is the non-Sinner, non-Alcaraz, but Djokovic quarter. So it's the Djokovic quarter. It's the Draper, Bublik, de Minaur, Djokovic quarter. Not necessarily in that order. In fact, the numbers of Q2. This is from DraftKings. I'll quote the DraftKings number for Q2. Djokovic plus 125, Draper plus 275, Bublik plus 350. I was hoping that was going to be a lot longer, but they're on to it. And then de Minaur is 10-1. What are your thoughts there, Drew?
I would put a line through Draper.
Oh, you would?
I think the whatever ailment, tonsillitis or whatever is going on with him, COVID, who knows what it is, but whatever is happening to him, that kind of really limited his performance in the semis at Queens. To me, it's going to be tough to recover from in a week for best of 5 tennis. So him being a bit of a disappointment is definitely possible, maybe even real. And I would say the draw was not kind to him in any way. Nope. Not only just putting Djokovic as his potential quarterfinal opponent, but Mensik is pretty difficult round 4 opponent potentially. Bublik really difficult round 3 opponent potentially. So he's got roadblocks, Draper, for round 3, 4, and quarterfinals. Top half looks just in general like war. So maybe whoever comes through to play Djokovic is battered and is damaged, and Djokovic has an easy time of it. But I don't really take exception to Djokovic being plus 125 for this quarter, and considering how well he played at the French Open, I think he likely just wins.
Zach, you are very bullish on Djokovic not only in this quarter but beyond, right?
Yeah, I definitely have him. I'm going to take him to win this quarter. I think I found a plus 170, so I'll probably end up taking that. I agree that like the top half of this quarter is it's going to be a battle. I even think Draper round 2 against Chilich could be a little closer than people think. I mean, Draper, like you said, like, he didn't look good last week, and he had to grind through every one of his wins too. So I just don't think he's coming in with a lot of momentum. I do think there's a lot of pressure. It's the type of thing where like 2 weeks before the tournament, we're talking about him like, oh, maybe he'll win Wimbledon, but then the reality sets in and it's just really tough. I think Djokovic, this is kind of the surface that is best for him right now. Like it's just really hard for him to kind of hit through the younger guys at this point. Like I think he played really well against Sinner at Roland Garros. Just it's tough for him to finish points against guys that move well. So having the grass to kind of help him a little bit, the serve is still there. I think that the ground strokes look as good as ever. So I do think he's going to end up making the semis, and I think that he's got the best chance to push Sinner here.
Yeah, he's won 7 of these, 7 Wimbledons among the 24 slams. I'm not surprised by your reaction, Zach. I am a little bit by Drew, because what we've had in these last few podcasts is I've sensed I mentioned this to you, Zach, I've sensed a pro-Djokovic theme from Zach and not so much from Drew over time. But this would be the surface where even Drew concedes maybe he wins the quarter.
Can I get an exacta parlay of Djokovic wins second quarter and does not win a set against Sinner?
Wait, okay, so let's go to Q1 for a second. Because I know,
sure,
Alcaraz, I'm with you, right? Smooth sailing. I'm not ready to say that about Sinner in Q1. By the way, Alcaraz, for those who don't know, won the last 2 Wimbledon. Sinner has never won this tournament before. But obviously they are the 2 greatest young players, greatest players, period, in men's tennis right now. But Sinner has in his quarter Tommy Paul, Ugo Humbert, Musetti, not really his surface. Dimitrov, if he was full strength, Dimitrov actually, and this is where you get dicey with grass numbers, Dimitrov actually has great 2-year and 1-year grass numbers. Typically with using the data, it's always a 1-year, 6-month thing, but with grass, there's nothing 6 month of any volume. So you sort of have to go back further in time, and it might not be as valid. But I'm just wondering, you sound way confident about Sinner coasting into the semis. Why am I a little worried about that? Am I wrong to be worried about that?
I mean, he hasn't ever proven anything to you on grass.
That's what I'm saying. And he lost to Bublik 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was. You have recent data that suggests he's a much better player than Alexander Bublik from the French Open, and Bublik got him on grass, which should spook you. But Bublik is a unique player, and I don't see anyone of Bublik's quality in Q1. Now, if Bublik himself was in his way, that would be really fun, but he's not. I'm in no way, shape, or form nervous about Nardi. Round 2 looks like a walkover. Round 3, Shapovalov, if he even gets there, is a walkover. Round 4, Tommy Paul, if he gets there, is a walkover. I think ultimately, Tommy Paul.
No love for Tommy Paul, huh?
Yeah, look, he probably gets to the deep into this tournament. He probably gets to week 2. He's probably playing in that round 4 match, but he has kind of proven he has a very distinct ceiling. Like, I don't think he's going into a round 4 against Sinner with any kind of confidence that he's winning. At least not the way he came out and played against Alcaraz in Paris. So I think he has an elite player problem, and I think Sinner likely comes through pretty cleanly there. The bottom half of that doesn't really scare me at all, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if there is a really, really unexpected name that comes through into that quarterfinal. I'm interested to see what kind of form Musetti is in. He obviously came through for all of us big time, winning his quarter at Roland Garros, and then would put up a bit of a fight before ejecting against Alcaraz, although for anyone who bet that match that day, he either did them dirty or did them a solid by retiring instead of just running that one out.
It was brutal. Brutal.
I was angry.
Yeah, me too.
He's a top 4 ELO grass player right now based on mostly last year's run. And he may have also done some exhibitions, but didn't play a warm-up event. So, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to see from him. If he rounds into form, he could be a competitive quarterfinal matchup for Sinner. But I kind of am in the same boat with where I feel like Sinner, Alcaraz probably gets to the final without dropping a set. I think Sinner's in that discussion too.
By the way, first quarter winner, just to be thorough. Sinner's minus 280. So what was Alcaraz in 4? Alcaraz was minus 340.
Minus 340.
Yeah,
that's missing a 0.
I agree with you.
I'm being a little facetious. I wouldn't say that there's this much confidence in Alcaraz, but he is so much clearly the best grass player right now by numbers. Yeah. It's outrageous. And if he serves like he served at Queens, like I honestly don't know who's beating him. I would be excited to see Fonseca. I would be excited to see another rematch against Jiří Lečeka. But Lečeka it was amazing how well he was playing, and he just had no chance against him in that final once the serve was dialed up. And then, everyone should. It's tough to go. It's tough to do the back-to-back on clay and grass. I know he did it last year.
I have Fonseca in the quarters, by the way.
You have Fonseca?
In the quarters. I think he's going to make the quarterfinal and then get dusted by Alcaraz, but I do think he's got a real shot to kind of have his breakout. It's a pretty good draw for him. If he plays Rune in round 3, that's kind of like the blowing by you in the future rankings batch.
Yeah.
Where is
what? You could take some Fonseca quarter price 18-1 and just hope that Alcaraz hits a ball person in the throat,
Yep. And 365 usually has mid the quarters.
Yeah, Fonseca 18-1 to win quarter 4. We did mention Alcaraz minus 340 in quarter 4, followed by Lehechka at 8-1. Rune 14-1. Holger Nodskov Vitus, or I think it's Vitus Nodskov Rune, and then Fonseca at 18-1. But I was saying about quarter 1, and Zach, get your thoughts if I'm right to have a little doubt about Sinner here. Minus 280, Musetti 10-1. The two Americans, Ben Shelton and Tommy Paul, both at 11-1. Then Umber and Dimitrov, the aforementioned Umber and Dimitrov, 18-1 and 25-1, respectively.
I think it's Sinners. If I was going to take somebody else, it'd be Umber. And like you guys both said, like Musetti coming in with no form and really no really status with his health. That's why I have any reservation here. Like I probably would have had him in the quarterfinals pretty easily if I knew that he was at full strength, because I do like his game on grass. I think we saw him last year make a really nice run and play Djokovic pretty close. I know it was a straight set loss, but a lot of deep sets that could have gone either way. And I do think that the slice is really nice on grass, and he's the type of player like an Alcaraz is just much better on the natural surfaces. But yeah, I don't trust him coming off an injury.
And Dimitrov very, very preoccupied with his new girlfriend, Asa Gonzalez, the actress, should be pointed out. She is worth the distraction, I would say. Okay, so men's pretty straightforward. I don't know if we had anything to add to the men's side on this. Was there a bet here beyond what we've just talked about?
Well, I guess I just would like to hear a little bit more of Zach's. Well, two questions for Zach. One, you mentioned Cilic, interesting bet against Draper. I was fascinated looking at the round 1 matches. Cilic is minus 769. This is, of course, the Marin Cilic who just won a grass title at the challenger level, but he's a recent champion, Mr. Cilic, former finalist here at Wimbledon. Didn't give Roger a test that day because he had the old blisters. I feel like, was it blisters? I don't know. He was crying at one point. But whatever the case is, Cilic certainly does have pedigree on grass from a million years ago. What kind of price do you think we'll get on Cilic against Draper? Or what kind of price would you need to play him straight up?
I think we'll get like plus 400 just because of how bad he's been, over the last, couple of years. But like you said, he just won a challenger, and we have seen matches where Draper's just kind of been served off the court, because he has some shaky moments with his own serve. So if Cilic does have a hot serving day, I could see him getting him. And we saw a match that I think was somewhat similar in Miami where Menchik got Draper. It just didn't miss his spots at all. And I just see that being the type of match.
I'm looking at. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, go ahead, Drew.
Yeah. The more important question then, when the gentlemen's Wimbledon starts on Sunday, July 13th, what do you think the price is going to be between Sinner and Alcaraz?
I see what he did.
Yeah, that's a good question. Ah, man, it was what? It closed at plus like 110 for Sinner at Roland Garros, right?
Sinner, I think, closed favorite. He was well supported. He was well supported.
I was on vacation and watched the match over like 2 meals on my phone.
Yeah. I think the bettors who were betting him were just a little reflection on the final at Roland Garros, which was a top 3 tennis match of my lifetime for sure.
Gotta be.
I think the support for Sinner was well founded. He obviously he was the much better player for huge stretches of that match. But what Alcaraz did in the high leverage moments was what he does best when he's backs against the wall. And I don't know that like the peaks for Alcaraz on a natural surface are just much higher than what Sinner can produce. But the steadiness for Sinner is kind of his advantage. And I don't really know that the steady level for Sinner on grass is good enough to challenge Alcaraz. So I would expect a finals price of like maybe Alcaraz minus 200. He's the 2-time defending champ. I'm guessing both guys get in with relatively limited damage, maybe neither having lost a set. And I would expect that it's pretty heavily tilted Alcaraz, but I don't know. There's always market support for Sinner because he's so freaking amazing.
I will tell you that the number that popped in my head was minus 170 on Alcaraz. Don't know why, but that's what popped in. I'm just looking at some of these first round matches. And it's, by the way, it's slim pickings because most of these are mismatches and they're priced pretty properly. Humbert minus 238 over Monfils, who is plus 190 coming back. Don't know what we have from Gael Monfils anymore, but interesting. This is also, I find this interesting. This popped off the page for me. Mapechi Pericard against Taylor Fritz. Mapechi Pericard plus 255. Doesn't it only take just a serve extravaganza and he wins? I mean, there's always that possibility.
What do you line that total at? 39 and a half?
43 and a half. 43 and a half.
43 and a half?
Yeah. And again, slim pickings. I'm just looking, is there an upset that, Rublev's grass hasn't been that great. And Rublev is, where is he? He is, Fonseca Fearnley, by the way. Fonseca's minus 175. Pretty interesting match. And then Rublev Dejeri. Rublev is a big $4 favorite in that. So got a good matchup. But anyway, those are
really an upset. But I think Borges is going to beat Cerundolo. I don't even know what the line is there.
Oh, Borges is, yeah, I would agree with you. What is, let's see, Cerundolo, not a good grass player. No. Borges is the dog, plus 158. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. To the ladies, yes? Anything else, Drew?
Well, I just want to say maybe the most interesting round one match for the men's side is two guys who are still playing. Griekspoor versus Brooksby. Like you could have two guys coming off of fresh titles going head to head in round one, which would be fascinating. Brooksby right now about to punch his ticket to the final against Humbert.
Speaking of fresh titles, should I even bring it up before we even say any other lady's name? Ladies and gentlemen, Iga Swiatek is on the cusp of a grass court tournament championship. A 250. Oh, no, it is a 250 nonetheless, but still. No, it's a 500. Pardon me, it's 500.
It's 500.
It's a 500 at Bad Homburg, the two greatest words in sports. Bad Homburg. Anyway, so there's that. Anything else on the men's side, Drew? I don't want to continue if you anything because it's a little more straightforward. I want to say this about the ladies' side.
Let's check in 2 weeks.
I think exactly when it starts on July 13th, right before the MLB All-Star break. I think, and again, maybe I'm prisoner of the moment here, but in all these slams that we have done, grass, hard courts, obviously Aussie and the U.S. Open, and clay at Roland Garros, I'm not sure there's ever been a more wide open draw in any of these than this one, the ladies' side at Wimbledon. It is just, there are so many names you can throw up in the air here, and I'd be like, yep, sure, I could see that happened. And there's a lot of these favorites or the short shots per, not only the outrights, but per quarter, where I'm like, I don't buy that at all. By the way, for the outrights, Aryna Sabalenka, world number one, is the short shot, 2-1. I don't think that should be the case. Iga Swiatek is now number 2 based on her bad Hamburg performance, I guess. That has moved this morning. She's 4-1. She was just 10-1 this morning. So she's taking money. Coco, 5-1. Andreeva, who hasn't really shown much here in grass, 8-1. Maddie Keys, 8-1. And then Rybakina, who, if you do care about grass numbers, is the most consistent grass court player along with Coco over the last couple years. She's 10-1. Let's just start with the outrights. Do you buy into that pricing? Because I don't with Aryna.
No,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I would cross out Sabalenka, Goff, and Andreeva, to be honest. I don't think the value is there with any of them right now. I had Goff last tournament. That went really well, but grass has not been her surface. Andreeva, as good as she is, grass is, she's very unproven on the surface and is also kind of going through mentally right now. Like you're just seeing a little bit of the immaturity from her, which it should be expected for a player her age, but seeing it at this time of year is definitely a little unfortunate just because she has the game to win majors right now. We saw it when she won the 1000. So it's going to be disappointing if she does suffer an early exit, but I do think she's going to. And Sabalenka, I understand why she's the favorite, but I can't get there at 2-1.
Drewski?
Yeah, when I was on with you on Tuesday, I made the joke that there were 128 women who could win this.
Yes, you did say that.
I'm going to revise that because the draw is lopsided. It's very lopsided. Not top and bottom, but Q1 and Q4 are both just freaking gnarly.
I agree.
And Q2 and Q3 are wicked soft.
Completely
and
agree.
So
yeah.
There are 32 women who could win quarter 2. There are 32 women who could win quarter 3. There are 3 who could win quarter 4, and there are 4 who could win quarter 1. Sabalenka's path is a disaster.
I know who
I hated her. I hated her at price before we knew what her draw was going to be, and this is now just a nightmare.
I know who the 3 are in Q4 because Rybakina, Goff, and Iga all ended up in Q4. And by the way, if Rybakina plays Swiatek, it's a round of 16 match, for God's sakes. Who are your 4 in Q1? Sabalenka and who?
Sabalenka, Vondrousova, Svitolina, and Keys, I think, are all possible quarter winners.
Say again, Sabalenka, Vondrousova.
Sabalenka, Vondrousova, Svitolina, and Keys could all win.
Not Mertens.
No. She's got the same problem as Tommy Paul. Like she'll beat the pushers, but then she comes up against the elite and she just gets smoked off the court.
Not Raducanu. Not Raducanu.
No. Okay. I don't think so. Raducanu got a bad draw. Speaking of bad draws, how about McCartney Kessler wins her first ever grass title, punches her ticket for a Wimbledon seed, and she draws Vondrousova in round 1? That's not fair. That's not right. And if she beats Vondrousova, she's going to have the entire center court screaming at her, cheering for Raducanu in round 2. And if she beats Raducanu in round 2, she draws Sabalenka, the number 1 in round 3. My goodness. The 3 slam winners. Back to start. If you're the 32 seed, that's not fair. Good luck to Miss Kessler.
I'm so glad you brought her up. She's the 32 seed. There's 32 seeds, by the way, for those who don't know. And by the way, Wimbledon does this. For those who don't know, just a little brief history. Up until 2021, the way Wimbledon did seedings was they actually weighted your grass court performance in to how they seeded players. Starting in 2021, they were like, we're just going to do the world rankings. So Kessler, though, if you do the grass numbers, and again, I don't know, I just feel the need to bring it up, but if you do 2 years, 1 year, 6 months, she's like the 12th best Kessler. But you're right, she got screwed in there.
Yeah, my grass number for her is like top 15, but still, like, this is murderer's row, so she's in trouble.
Yeah.
My general take here is there are 4 potential women who could win this quarter. 3 of them are in the top half of the quarter. 1 of them is in the bottom. I think Madison Keys basically has a free pass to the quarterfinal where she's going to draw someone who has come through with mega damage. And so I think Keys 4-1 is the play in Q1. And actually maybe just the outright play.
And by the way, before we even saw the draw, she was kind of a good play. Now she's even better.
I think so too. I think it's even better now. Yeah. Even though she's in a really tough quarter, she's going to have her toughest match to get to the final is going to be the first quarterfinal. But that might be her only tough match to get to the final, right? And there's also a possibility that whoever she plays coming out of the bottom has gone through hell.
They took down the
so
quarter numbers.
She might be the bet.
At DraftKings, they took down the quarter numbers. Now I can't see what they were.
I screenshotted them.
Oh, did you?
She was 4-1.
She's 4-1.
4-1 to win Q1, yeah.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sabalenka, Raducanu, Vondrousova, who won this 2 years ago, Kessler, Mertens, Svitolina, Vekic, who got to the semis, was it last year, Vekic? Leila Fernandez, who has a great grass court, and then Maddie Keys. Packed quarter. But Keys, you're right. She's on the right side of that. And we'll skip over to Q4 also. That is the fact that Swiatek, Rybakina, and Coco ended up all in the same quarter Coco's on her own half of that quarter, whereas I just mentioned Rybakina and Swiatek get each other in the round of 16. Psh, brutality. Yet Iga's taking money.
I don't have Coco in the quarters.
You do not?
I don't. I don't trust her in big matches, but I think Samsonova might be the quarterfinalist in that portion of the.
What's
bracket.
she? What is her number?
I gotta find it. I don't know if she's gonna win that match, but I do think she's gonna beat Coco and get there.
What is it about Coco you're not digging?
I think that she could be rushed on grass. Like I think that forehand's still a big problem, and I think like the way she was able to win ugly at Roland Garros, you just can't do it at Wimbledon. I know we've seen some weird things here, but winning without a forehand and a really strong, consistent serve, that's a problem for me. So I think Samsonova would be really tough there. She's 12-1 at DraftKings.
I completely agree with Zach, by the way. Coco's price is poison for this tournament.
Yeah.
Anything she does here is gravy.
What are you guys talking about? She only won because Sabalenka had 70 unforced errors. What are you talking about?
Her success on clay was undisputable.
Yeah.
Her return point win percentage was elite. That's not happening on grass.
No,
there's some Lou Dort to her.
Lou Dort.
I don't want to sound. This is not sour grapes, right? Like I had a big old bet on Coco last year when she was the only good player on the bottom half of the draw, and she let me down. She got beat by, I want to say, maybe Emma Navarro, and then just a gross performance, like maybe round 4 in that tournament. So I will believe it when I see it, of her being able to solve grass.
Coco Gauff has never gotten past the 4th round. She's done it 3 times, but she's never gotten past the 4th round at Wimbledon. Whereas, of course, she's won the French, she's won the U.S. Open, semifinalist in Australia, but never past the 4th round here on grass. So Samsonova, would you find her number, Zach, for this quarter?
Yeah, it's 12-1.
12. So not again. This is. I'll get back to my original point. There are players that you look at. You wanted to be. I was hoping the numbers would be, great. But even Samsonova at 12-1. Are you kidding me? That's all she is to win the quarter. A quarter with Coco, Iga, and
what I would
Rybakina?
price her against Iga.
Yeah, I was just in the match itself. You mean?
In the match itself, if that's your quarterfinal.
Yeah. Jeez, that's amazing.
I'm joking a lot, but Samsonova also talk about can't be trusted. Like I'm not going to twist anyone's arm not to bet her, because she is playing a lot better right now than she has been for a while. But I'll never forgive her for what she did at the U.S. Open. Against, was it Tomljanovic?
Oh, Drew. That was the one where I was in a plane.
Disgusting.
I was texting
disgusting.
Drew because I couldn't see
3 years ago, 4 years ago. I'm still not over it.
I was refreshing the score and I was like, this can't be right. She had like 8 match points, or 8 set points or something, or 8 match points. She squandered something like that. Yeah.
I was like 6 weeks ahead of her peaking and I had her at 50-1 for the U.S. Open. And I was just like, this is happening. Like, here we go. She's third best player on tour right now. And then just completely checked out against Tomljanovic in a match where she was minus 900 at one point.
Never again.
So I guess I don't know who is ultimately going to stop Coco from getting to the quarterfinals, but I don't disagree with Zach that she's vulnerable. And then I think your quarter winner is whoever comes through that Iga Rybakina head-to-head, which is likely going to be round 4. I'm not seeing enough peak good from Rybakina to say that like she actually has a title run in her. This warm-up was a little disappointing considering how well I thought she handled things in Roland Garros. And I have supported her in losses recently, so that may be shading my opinion a bit. But I thought Iga got her, kind of solved a lot of her game pretty compellingly in that Roland Garros round of 16 match. Interesting. This would be another round of 16, I guess. Rybakina losing to Tatiana Maria was extremely disappointing. And then, going to war with Sabalenka and not finding the answers in that third set where it was very, very frustrating. So
I had her too. I had
a little
Rybakina.
cool on Rybakina.
I had Rybakina too. She was up 6-2 in the third set tiebreaker 2 weeks ago, Sabalenka. The quarter prices are back
right
up.
there.
The quarter prices back up at DraftKings. Let's just talk about 1 and 4. Quarters 1 and 4, which we just talked about. So Sabalenka is even money in quarter 1. I totally disagree. Maddie Keys, as you mentioned, 4-1. Vondrousova, who won this title 2 years ago, 5-1. Svitolina, what is that, 9-1. Oh, Paula Badosa we didn't mention. Poor boy, 14-1. Followed by Vekic, Fernandez, Raducanu, and so on and so forth. Mertens right after that. Q4 is the Rybakina Swiatek Coco quarter. Rybakina 2-1, Coco plus 210, Iga plus 225, followed by Samsonova at 12-1. Wow. 3 players as close as could be right there. By the way, Kasatkina has great grass numbers too, in case anybody cares.
I got a feeling that Iga moneyline rollover in the 2 matches she'll need to win this is probably going to be better.
I think you're right.
Than taking 225. But if you said you have to take a quarter price in that market right now, it would be Iga.
Wouldn't it be amazing? May I just say it? Wouldn't it be amazing if Iga Swiatek won this tournament? And if Iga Swiatek wins this tournament, God help everybody. God help everybody. I am going to be insufferable.
You want to hear the bull case for Iga?
Yes, please. I'm all ears.
A lot of the tactics that they've been working on with her should make her grass game better.
Zach.
They should.
Zach has a theory.
I said it off the air.
Zach Cohen has a theory. What is it?
Yeah, I said it to Gill off the air. Like I think they brought Wim Fissette on to kind of make her a better quick court player, and I think that she played the best we've seen all season at the Australian Open. I know that she lost that match to Keys, but I think that she's much better tactically on faster surfaces now, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that pay off now.
And
I completely agree with that. I'm going to go one step further and do a little black magic here. I think there was a lot of pressure on her at the French Open.
Oh, for sure.
And you know who weirdly, like external pressure, not in match pressure, but external like atmospheric pressure she does not seem to respond to
no, she didn't do
that well.
Right.
And there's not a lot of pressure on her right now, although there might be if she wins the title in Bad Homburg. But I think ultimately we could very, very, very well expect to reflect on everything kind of coming together for her in this fortnight. Even in a very tough draw, in a very tough quarter, getting through to a Wimbledon final here is not an unreasonable expectation. And the big question at that point is, can she solve Madison Keys in that final?
Yeah, well, she had a match point against Keys at the Australian Open in the semis. And Madison, of course.
How'd that go?
Madison overcame it and wins the title. By the way, 2 Americans, Madison Keys, Australian Open, Coco Gauff, French Open so far this year.
I was going to bring that up for quarter 3.
What's that?
I was going to bring that up for quarter 3.
Well, let's bring it. By the way, Iga's deepest run at Wimbledon has been only the quarterfinals, it should be pointed out, up till now. So quarter 2 and quarter 3 is where the interesting part comes. We'll do quarter 3 here, Zach, since this is the Mira Andreeva Jessie Pegula quarter with the reigning defending champion. Is this true? I have to make sure that I'm thinking about this straight. Barbora Krejcikova is your reigning Wimbledon champion. Quarter 3, the quarter odds are Andreeva plus 210, which I'm not buying. Jessie Pegula plus 450, who sort of just coasts along under the radar and no one ever talks about her. Then it's Alexandrova. This is a great example of another player who I'm like, oh, I wonder what number I'm going to get on Alexandrova. Just plus 550. They're all over it. Navarro plus 850. And then everybody else double digits, the Muhovas and the Bencics and the Krejcikova, the defending champion, 18-1 to win her quarter. What do you think, Zach? What do you think about this?
I think Pegula has a really good shot. I saw it at plus 500 somewhere else. I just think we've seen her play well at Bad Homburg too. And she's one that has not played well on grass throughout her career, but it's the type of thing, like we said, it's such a short season. It's really hard to kind of have impressive grass court numbers, but I always have kind of liked her grass court game, especially if the serve ever came around, and she's having the best serving season of her career this year. So I just think she's going to be really tough to out there. I actually have Pegula playing Navarro in the quarterfinals. So I think we're going to see an American semifinalist, and I hope to see Pegula, to be the one, because I would like to see Pegula win a slam at some point.
Pegula was a quarterfinalist here 2 years ago. Drew?
Good luck.
I love Drew's conviction.
It's not like Pegula. The class of player that I kind of hold her in is very much like like you're the best player in this 250. Like you're gonna make it look easy and win, right? Like, oh, you're in a competitive 500. Like you can scrap your way to this title. Like, oh, you're in a a Masters level event. Like you're up against somebody tough in the quarterfinals or the semifinals. Like you're probably losing. She needs to be in kind of like things need like the seas need to part like they did for her to get to that US Open final last year. And she needs to be up against another player who doesn't have, hasn't already kind of achieved it, I think, to really get across the finish line. That's kind of my read. I don't really, I wasn't shocked that Keys ultimately got a slam, right? Just because of how well she plays at the Grand Slam level. Her entire career was always like, man, one day she is going to put it together.
We always, right? She always had it in her.
You knew she always had it in her, but I feel like we've always seen the better of Pegula in the smaller tournaments. And when it's at the slam level, for whatever reason, I just haven't seen it. So if this is the year, then awesome. Like I will celebrate it surely. And actually I don't hate it at all at 450 to win Q3 because Q3 is weak. So go for it. I think my eyebrows kind of perked up when I saw Krejcikova withdraw after getting a little bit of warm up this week. I was like, oh, maybe she's like buckled in for a little title defense. Her French Open was obviously one of my favorite matches because I had the house against her, but she even well defeated in that match was like producing some level that I was like, man, like, yeah, if she's feeling right, I hate betting against her. Like, it's just very uncomfortable. So, kind of my eyebrows were a little raised when she withdrew this week, and now she's 18-1 to win a week quarter. And she's your defending champion. She obviously knows how to bring it on grass. So, kind of keeping an eye on that. Bencic put a freaking pen through that. I don't know what is going on with her right now, but she is not right. Nope. She should not be 16-1. Mukova should not be 14-1. Nope. She is not right right now. And she draws the plucky Jin Wang in round one. So good luck to her. Wang obviously with a Sun run 2 weeks ago. Was it London or Berlin? I forget.
It was last week, and she got the final. She lost to Vondrousova. Yeah.
Yeah, she was incredible. So she could very well punch Mukova's ticket round one. But yeah, the Pegula section is weak. She probably draws whoever wins, the Krejcikova Navarro match. I agree 100% with Zach that Andreeva is a hard pass in this tournament.
Totally. Totally.
I think expecting much from her from here to the end of the season is asking a lot, because it seems to me at least like she's going to need another off season to really kind of put it all together and kind of have fully adjusted to what is asked of these players for a full season of being on tour. So yeah, I think Pegula at plus 450 is perfectly reasonable bet. I think a flyer on Krejcikova to win Q3 at 18-1 is also a fun play.
Zach, anything to add there?
I would agree, by the way, on Pegula needing help to win a major for sure. Like, yeah, yes. I don't doubt that at all.
This is the world number 3 that you people are talking about like that. How dare you? All right.
That's because she picks up all the pieces at the garbage tournaments, man.
Q2. All right. Try this on for size. Just looking real quick. Paulini, Noskova, Haddad Maia, Nisimova, Schneider, Ostapenko, Zhang Xinwen. It is Paulini that is the short shot here, plus 350. Anisimova, co-short shot, pardon me, both plus. Oh, no, Anisimova's now down to plus 550. Earlier this morning, Anisimova was the short shot. So now it's Paulini at plus 350, Anisimova at plus 550. Then it's Zhang Xinwen. Not really her surface, 8-1. Noskova, 6-1, pardon me. Noskova plus 750, pardon me, I can't speak. Osaka 9-1. Then Jabeur and Ostapenko lead the double digits at 10-1. This is kind of, I mean, with apologies to Paolini, who kind of deserves to get the nod here, this is sort of wide open too, I think. Drew?
I do not think Paolini should be the favorite.
Anisimova should be?
I would actually, sadly, my numbers say Ostapenko is the best on grass of these.
So do my numbers.
Which
and
is kind of surprising seeing her at 10-1.
Well, no,
she's priced.
Let me say that. Anisimova with a slight, just the thinnest of margins over Ostapenko. But like you, I was shocked to see Ostapenko up in those numbers.
Yeah, it's almost like she's being priced like she's wildly inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine being priced that way? It's ridiculous.
I think she's going to lose in the first round, to be honest.
Do you?
She could.
Which is very possible.
She could.
Yeah.
I would say that the lowest confidence of everything we say on this entire podcast is what happens in this quarter.
Yeah,
I could see, again, like any one of these 32 women could ultimately win, and I'll be like, yeah, wow, she put it together. Good for
her. Zach, what do you think?
This is one of the weakest slam quarters I can remember.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about Zheng's grass court history and more concerned about her having that back injury that forced her out of action. And she played a pretty good match against Anisimova, but had to back out of the next one. So I think it's going to be one of those two. So plus 550 or plus 600, I'd be looking at Anisimova and Zheng. I think that those two probably face off in the quarterfinals.
I'll be honest with you, man. As many opinions as I have here on a lot of this stuff, it's hard to settle on one person to play here. In so many of these, like I have my numbers say Anisimova or Ostapenko. It doesn't make me want to bet them, But now that Anisimova is drifting a little bit, I might be with you, Zach. Plus 550 is it's.
Anisimova's played a lot of tennis on grass.
Yeah,
she has the reps more than any of these other women.
She sure does. Yeah, I'm just.
She is. I got to imagine she has played more matches on grass the last 52 than anyone on tour.
I will tell you who I think might be ripe for a first round upset is Zhang Xinwen. She is playing Katerina Siniakova, who is feisty at plus 151. That might be a first round play for me.
Siniakova still alive, or did she just get beat today?
Let me see. Great.
Osaka round 2 is tough too. Like it's not easy for Zheng early.
Pegula beat Siniakova today, straight sets.
Pegula got her. Yeah, yesterday. Okay.
Say again, Zach. What did you say, Zach?
Osaka round 2 against Zheng. That's another one. Like Zheng has 2 really tough matches to start the tournament.
Yeah, I think we never talk about Osaka. I mean, she is. Would you be like in the same way of like Maddie Keys? Would you be that shocked if Osaka made a run here at some point?
To a title,
nothing
yes.
in Q2 would surprise me.
What did you say, Drew? You said yes.
To a title, yeah. 7 wins would surprise me.
Yeah, I'm not saying
like
a title.
She's shown you small bursts of top 5 these last couple of years, but 7 matches in a row, we just haven't seen it.
Yeah,
and there are a couple of specific tournaments that are barometers for her early in the season. Miami is probably the top one. And if she's not performing well in Miami, then you just kind of say, okay, I guess it's just not happening. And so, yeah, I think the next barometer for her is probably coming up in the fall after the U.S. Open. We'll see if she puts it together in like Tokyo or Beijing or whatever. But yeah, Osaka's not there for me yet.
So outright, did we say who we're betting on outright here?
Keys and Iga.
I think I wanted you to say it first because if I say it first, people are like, here he goes with Iga. Iga's 8-1. It's okay. We're up to date. Sabalenka plus 250 or whatever. She plus 260. No. Rybakina 8-1. Okay, I get that. And Iga 8-1. Who was your other one besides Iga?
Keys on top, Iga on bottom.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think those are my two too. Iga 8-1 and Keys 20-1.
I think Keys actually has a super sneaky, easy draw. I think she has 4 free-ish passes, 1 difficult quarterfinal match, a relatively soft semifinal, and then she's bang in the final.
And I will say this also, and I think you guys agree, which is these are the most grass also, obviously the data isn't as robust, but it also allows for the biggest mispricing, And I just think a lot of these Sabalenka should not be the short shot in her quarter. Andreeva should not be the short shot in her quarter. Paulini is debatable if she should be the short shot in her quarter. I'm with you there. Maybe it's not her. We rarely see that in any slam tournament, right? You won't see that on the clay. You won't see that on hard courts. But here you do.
Yeah, I also just for completing the loop here, Anna Samova is your most
be careful,
well-seasoned grass women's player. She has 8 matches on grass this year. Next best is McCartney Kessler with 7. Stramkova and Wong have 6. Schneider, Rybakina, Bolter, Maria, Samsonova, Lynette, and Mertens have 5. So Elise Mertens 5-0 on grass so far this year.
That's why I brought her
Tatiana
up.
Maria 5-0 on grass so far this year. But when you look at the ranking of the women they have played, it is not especially impressive.
Right.
So
that's the thing about the data, right? Because Mertens' raw numbers, year and 6 months, elite-ish, but got to look at the competition also. Zach, anything to add here?
It's going to be Keys Iga, and I'll probably put a sprinkle on Pegula too. I don't. It's
if we were having this conversation 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I said to you, the 3 of us are going to have Iga as one of the 2 plays at Wimbledon, you would have said what? You'd have been
crazy,
like,
but everybody in the comments will say obviously.
That's right. You're crazy. Of course, you guys said Iga. Of course, but man, Iga trying to win her 6th slam. Yeah.
I feel like we probably brought her up a lot every Wimbledon podcast we've done, Gill, the
Iga?
last 4 years.
Have we?
I think so.
It sounds
I think so.
Sounds likely.
Some of it's. I feel like the tone has mostly been me throwing cold water on you, but in general,
I don't know that I've ever come into grass thinking that this was her thing. Maybe I have, but I don't know.
Well, usually after she's freshly dusted the entire tour and not dropped a set in Roland Garros, it's like, why can't she? Why not?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah.
And also, like the last 4 or 5 years, like the women's tour has not been nearly as strong as it is this moment. Like we've had Sabalenka's only played one of the last 4 Wimbledons. She didn't play last year because of a shoulder. She missed a couple of years because of the ban. Not, if you weren't paying attention, Belarus and Russian women were banned for at least 2 years, and then there wasn't a COVID year. So Sabalenka maybe only has like 1 Wimbledon in the last 5. But and just in general, like the window, like the years that Ons had her chance to win here, some of it was because she was a magician on grass at that time, but a lot of it was because the rest of the women's tour was so weak then, particularly on grass. It just had the door was wide open for her. She got to the doorstep and didn't walk through it, but I'm over that, as you can tell.
So Iga and Keys, Iga Swiatek, Madison Keys on the ladies' side. Quarter comments that we've made in between, obviously. What was the longest shot? Was Zach Samsonova 12-1 in Q4? That was your longest flyer?
I'm not going to take that. You just asked me what it was. I just think she's going to beat Coco.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
I was just reading. Yeah. No,
Zach likes Samsonova stage of elimination quarterfinals.
Yeah. I have Pegula to win the quarter plus 500.
Okay.
And I am going to take a little Pegula to win the tournament.
Okay, but longer still are Swiatek and Maddie to win the whole thing, let alone their quarters. And then the men's, again, a lot more straightforward, obviously, with Sinner and Alcaraz. I don't think Sinner is quite as coasty as these guys do necessarily in Q1, but I sure as hell didn't say I was making a bet against it. I didn't say I'm betting Tommy Paul 10-1 in Q1 either. I haven't quite gotten there. All right.
All right, let me recap real quick on the women's. I have Iga 10-1. I have Keys 20-1 to win. I think that's your final. I have Keys 4-1 to win Q1. That's a big bet. I have darts on Anisimova 550, dart to win Q2, dart on Krejcikova 18-1 to win Q3.
Oh.
I would not play Q4. I think you can roll over Iga versus Rybakina and Goff or Samsonov or whoever. then you're going to get as good of a price as plus. You're going to need her to go through Rybakina and Goff, I think, to do better than plus 225. But 225 is not a good enough price to play Ego fourth quarter. And then on the men's side, let me flip over here. Carlos Alcaraz is out to minus 450 while we've been talking.
Did I do that? Did we do that?
Yeah. And then, he gets through fourth quarter without dropping a set, in my opinion. Third quarter, I would take a shot on ADF 18-1. Second quarter, I think Djokovic wins. He's shorter now. He's down to 100 from 120. And then first quarter, Sinner is down to minus 400, which I completely agree with, and that is correct as well. So fine parlay pieces on Sinner and Alcaraz. I think that's your final, and we'll check in 2 weeks
when the tournament starts, as you said. I have none of your men's, but I'm going to have a whole bunch of the ladies' simpatico. Iga to win, Maddie to win, and Anisimova quarter for me. Zach?
Yeah, Iga to win, Maddie to win, Pegula sprinkle to win, Pegula to win the quarter plus 500, Anisimova plus 550 to win quarter two, and I'll probably take some Zhang plus 600 to win quarter two as well.
Ooh, okay.
And for the men, Djokovic plus 170 in Q2. I don't know if that's still available. I haven't taken it yet. I doubt it is now. I think I see 140 now. Medvedev plus 350 in Q3, and I'll take a little Berrettini 16-1 in Q3 as well.
That was the biggest outlier, I think. Berrettini, 16-1, in case he gets all serve body on us. Gentlemen, really appreciate it. It's always fun. Grass is a little more dicey, but still, betting opportunities. And like with the players, as we were saying earlier, sort of getting the hang of it as the 2 weeks go on, I sort of had a good Wimbledon, I think, last year in the end because of the Krejcikova run, because the Paolini run, Vekic, so you could, as a bettor, sort of figure it out as it goes along. If the numbers are out, you just throw them out and you go with what your eyes are saying. So that's what makes this a little bit of a different animal. Should be fun. Drew Dinsick at whale_capper, Deep Dive, and Bet the Edge podcast. Deep Dive with Andy Molitor, Bet the Edge with Jay Croucher at NBC Sports, and Zach Cohen. I always say Zach VSiN, but Zach does all kinds of stuff. The Tennis Channel. What is the array of stuff you do for the Tennis Channel?
I do one pick a day for Tennis Channel during the tournament, during like Masters and Majors, and I usually do a tournament preview for them as well. It's full-time VSiN though, and then just a little freelance Tennis Channel. All
right, you and I will have our picks at VSiN.com/picks for VSiN subscribers, and when Drew is on a numbers game on Tuesday, whatever he says that day, we'll have at VSiN.com/picks as well. But check him out on Twitter as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and good luck to everyone. Wimbledon 2025. Thanks for listening. Thank you, boys.